Cricket et al. It's a website, it's a podcast.
Pete, it's a way of life.
It's Gideon Haig over here.
Bit of Lawler over here.
And welcome to Cricket et al., your independent cricket podcast. We're on the other side of the laneway tonight. We're near the MCC Indoor School.
We've gone up market, haven't we?
Two men on
a bench.
Yeah. Well, it's we're exhausted. I know it's only 2 days into this test match, but it already feels like we've played a 2-test series at least.
It's been 2 days at hypersonic pace, hasn't it? Really? I really felt like that game was going to break the speed of sound or something. Anyway, Gideon, I'll tell you where we're at because I know that's what you want to know.
Yep.
After Australia put on 212 in the first innings, South Africa were bowled out for 138 today. Thought, well, that's pretty good, isn't it? You know,
seems ages ago already.
Yeah, Australia find themselves 8 for 144 at stumps. That's a lead of 218, thanks largely to a 61 face-saving partnership put on by Alex Carey with Mitchell Starc. Carey was dismissed late in the day for 43. Starc resumes on 16 not out. But Australia were in deep shit at one stage in that game, weren't they? Pardon my language, listeners.
They were. They could have been 8 for 100 had Carey not successfully reviewed that LBW. I think they would have been 174 ahead at that stage. Yeah. As it is, South Africa now have to make the highest score of the match to win.
Well, I think when they were 7 down, they were only like 140 in front. And, you know, they're precariously positioned.
They were.
They're dizzying numbers, aren't they? That's not a beautiful set of numbers unless you're a fast bowler.
No,
you question a lot of things, actually.
It's been very hard to draw conclusions about the batting on either sides in this game. Both teams have made batting look at times almost impossibly difficult.
Yes,
which is a testament to high quality bowling. Also, I think perhaps it's not so obvious watching on TV is how the conditions are constantly fluctuating here. I don't think I've ever been at a test match where I've seen the sun go in and out as often as in this game. There have been periods today where it's been incredibly dark, where the chandeliers in the Lord's Pavilion have kind of stood out like car headlights, and then we've come out of the press box and it's a beautifully balmy afternoon, probably the best light of the day. They could still be playing in it.
Yeah, batting looked horrid out there for most of the game. There've been little patches after about the 30th over in both innings, I think, where it's looked a little easier. The bowling's been excellent, but I think one thing from an Australian perspective that can't be argued with is they have problems with their openers and their number 3. So 1, 2 and 3.
Right. Yeah.
Serious problems going into an Ashes summer. The English have been sort of watching this game through, grinding their teeth, thinking, someone's having a party at our house. But their mood improved today.
Yes, it did.
Because they looked at what the Australian batting and thought, you know what, that's not much chop. And it's hard not to agree with them, to be honest. Look at Usman. Okay, Usman is coming off a fantastic 232 in very different conditions in Sri Lanka against very different bowling. Yep. But he looks a beat behind when the bowling's fast.
He was curious today. Look, we'll get to that. I think we should do this in order because it has been a kind of a breaking story all day, and each succeeding hour has thrown up new news stories. It did actually, strangely, start quite quietly. Now, it was almost a bit of a lull this morning as Bavuma and Beddingham got re-established.
Well, they were at 4 down. I think they started again at 4 down. That first hour and a half, the ball wasn't swinging.
No.
Because that ball was a bit older. You thought it would. You just assumed the ball would spin. What does it do? It seams. And the ball would swing and the wicket would seam. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah. Yep.
You have a go. I'll just try and get my dentures back in.
Anyway, as often happens at that time, Australia conjured a wicket from nowhere by dint of their fielding. And actually, I must say the fielding in this game has been of a very, very high standard. I think 11 of the 12 catches that have gone to the cordon have been accepted. You've also had, I think, 8 bowled in LBWs. That shows you that the bowlers have been pursuing full lengths, and it's been supported by very, very good fielding. But one of the best catches one of the most timely catches and one of the most potentially decisive catches was Marnus Labuschagne's today.
Yeah.
He was at a catching cover. Temba Bavuma had been going hard at the ball. He'd hit a couple over the top of cover in the air. He was clearly, every opportunity to play an attacking shot he was throwing his hands at. Didn't quite get all the bat onto that drive off Cummins coming in from the pavilion end. But it was Labuschagne at cover had to dive backwards and to the right, just slightly behind himself in order to take that catch. And it was
Super Marnus.
It was Super Marnus, yeah.
It was fantastic. Probably the second best catch of the day, though.
Yeah.
Bo Webster's
we'll get to that. That was a ripper.
Yeah.
But as it was a very material intervention from Labuschagne, and I think that's actually worth pointing out when people talk about Labuschagne's place in this side. I think even in the period when his bat has been muted over the last couple of years, he has found different ways to contribute to the Australian effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Four run-outs.
You're mounting a case for him to open the batting because he's billing?
Well, four run-outs in the World Cup.
Yes.
Took a couple of screamers last year. Great catch to get rid of Harry Brook in that Birmingham Test match in 2023. That was vital. Would Sam Constas have taken that catch today, Pete? I think it's a question worth asking.
Oh, God help us when we're picking batters because they're good catchers. Seriously. Look, I think another thing to be taken away from that dismissal was that it was Pat Cummins who did it.
Yes.
Because how often, when you have to dig deep, that Cummins makes that breakthrough for Australia? I don't know how often. I'm not going to go back through all the scorecards.
Jared Kimber could tell us.
Yeah, probably could. Someone could tell us. Someone who knows more than us. Yeah. But it was significant to me too that Cummins was bowling, and he was ecstatic getting that wicket, wasn't he?
Yep.
They had chanced themselves with Bavuma drive, and he drove, but he drove with authority early on. But they stuck at it, and he just got that little bit wider up to him, and he didn't quite get to the ball as he should have. But it was travelling at great pace.
Yeah.
Just in the air, and I reckon they were looking for that wicket, and they've been looking for it for some time.
And from that point, they had an end open, didn't they? And they could work away at it, and Cummins worked away at it like drilled away at that hole. He's ended up taking 6 for
28.
Well deserved. It's extraordinary, isn't it?
6 for 28 from 18.1 overs.
2 fours off the last 2 balls last night as he went for the hero Yorker from Bedingham. Bavuma's hit him for 6 today. Magnificent shot.
Yeah, take them out. What have we got?
So that's the
6
rest
for 12.
of the time, 6 for 14. Yeah, so
something like that.
Yeah, and really, batsmen never looked like laying a glove on him at times today. They were just looking really to hold him out. And of course, you hold out Cummins, and then you've got Stark and Hazelwood to come. And
that 6-wicket haul took him to 300 career wickets.
Yeah.
Significant achievement and done very well, isn't it? I think there's one other bowler has a better average. That's Glenn McGrath.
He's the 5th fastest to 300,
and nobody has a better strike rate.
Yep. And he's now
that's of bowlers who've taken 300 or more, obviously.
He's now taken, I think, 135 wickets as captain.
Correct, yeah.
Which means that 3 more and he will match Richie Benaud, who has 138, the record for an Australian captain. And he will rank behind Imran Khan with 187.
And to continue with the statathon,
go on.
Thomas Miles points out that is the best haul by a captain at Lords.
Hat tip to Thomas Miles, official statistician of Cricket et al. If you're looking for more of Thomas's handiwork, not only is he responsible for cricket's greatest T-shirt, the Usman 232,
the little black dress of cricket T-shirts,
but his handiwork is in Pete's post on cricketetal.com.
Probably the best thing about my post. Yeah. So I mean, when Cummins did that, it was an incredible effort, and you kind of went, look, Australia. What was Australia's lead then? It was 70 odd. You thought they're going to they're going to build a lead here. They've got this game in the bag. That was the presumption. I thought.
Yes,
it was. They just felt like they had the momentum of the game. They bowled the opposition out for what did I say before? 138.
Yeah, well, it was nasty, wasn't it, after lunch? Australia
it was certainly nasty.
Really put the foot down, much in the way that South Africa put the foot down after tea yesterday. So, breaks have had an influence on proceedings today. We started that little bit late after lunch. There was a little bit of mizzle around and a little bit of overcast at the same time. That certainly helped the bowlers. But of course, what helped Australia's bowlers also helped South Africa's.
That's
and it was a battle for Australia thereafter. Let's go back to Usman Khawaja. You mentioned him earlier. He does look half a beat behind, doesn't he? He's favouring that pull shot.
Yeah,
it's the shot that he's got left.
It's not the shot to play out there today.
No, it wasn't. And once again, Rabada worked him over from round the wicket. He does look uncertain on that angle, and once again he nicked off. And it was a repeat. It was like the first innings, wasn't it? Because Cameron Green immediately went the same way as he did in the first innings, more or less.
Yeah, in the same over.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Australia lost two sets of batters in the same over in this match, and then two sets of two in subsequent overs as well.
Indeed,
Things moved at a frightening pace in this game, didn't they? Yep. Cameron Green at number 3. You didn't like it yesterday. What do you think about it today?
I didn't really like it before the game, so I'm feeling profoundly vindicated by that. I've been death riding him for the whole Test match.
I was right. Told you so.
I speak ill of Cameron Green. He's clearly a very talented player, but I think you require more preparation for batting 3 for Australia than peeling off hundreds in Division 2 at number 5. And I think you do need some experience at number 3. He was expecting a lot for him to come in at number 3 in the final of the World Test Championship. So anyway,
at Lords, in difficult conditions
against Kisa Rabada.
I think it's my feeling, and maybe you've observed this too, that he is wooden. He's a bit stiff early in his innings. He takes a while to get moving. You probably don't want.
Well, today he tried to mix it up, didn't he? Because the balls that he faced, he was coming pushing forward. His forward press was even more urgent today. By the two balls that he faced. Well, we could see what his tactic was, but it didn't work.
Sample size.
Exactly.
No, it was a real
small sample size.
It was a bit of a lunge at that ball. It wasn't a fluid movement, was it? So, and throwing forward as journalists are wont to do, which I used to be one of them. That's a real issue for Australia. Looking at the summer ahead, what do they do? Who opens? Who's at 3? They got plenty of guys capable below that. But I think Smith's going to have to move up to 3.
We've got a nation full of number 5s.
We do.
Let's face it. We once again we'll go back to Marnus Labuschagne. The job that he has done for Australia since 2019, even though his returns in the last year have been subpar. When your number 3 is getting runs consistently, that is the kind of the tent pole for the entire innings.
Yeah, it's now been 30 innings without reaching triple figures. He's got close. He's made significant contributions. I mean, he batted well in some of those difficult conditions in the summer. But you start to worry about those things. Maybe his fielding is to be valued.
Yeah.
But I'd be astounded if Sam Constas isn't playing the next Test match for Australia. But I guess
okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you'll be there. I will not. Just pointing out that Pete is going on to the West Indies with cricket et al. And we'll be continuing to podcast from our respective vantage points. But we should thank our subscribers, shouldn't we?
We should.
We always forget to do so. And we constantly chide each other for not doing so. So we're only here, frankly, because you've been kind enough to support us on this merry little adventure.
Yeah, otherwise we'd have to get real jobs.
Anyway, the subsidence continued thereafter. Australia could never quite get settled.
No.
Lungi Ngidi, who looked, led in the saddlebags in South Africa's first innings, bowled a lively spell. He's picked up 3 very, very important wickets, including the plum Steve Smith
and Webster
and
was it? It was Cummins.
Yep.
Who played a curious innings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's the sense of insecurity has added to the general skittishness of batting in this Test match, hasn't it? The idea that there might be one with your name on it round the corner. So batsmen have occasionally taken one too many liberties, like Alex Carey in the first innings, but not this time. Alex Carey played with great poise and even serenity at times. I thought, I think you were saying to me in the press box, he has that Gil Christian quality, doesn't he?
Yes.
Scoring quite quickly and seeming to change the trajectory of games in a relatively short period. 20 minutes and 3 or 4 boundaries, and he's away.
And Gil Christian, yeah. Well, he scored 43 from 50 deliveries without taking risks. He's just a crisp sort of batsman. He bats with intent, as to sort of invoke the cliche of these days, but he's no Lair.
Well, I don't know, except a day ago. Yeah.
Against spin. When he does,
that's
but,
true. Yeah.
But it's probably worked for him more often than it hasn't. That reverse sweep. It's an important shot. You'd hate to see him put it away.
I just like it to see him play it with a little bit more discretion, because he didn't really need to.
What have you ended up writing about today?
I've ended up writing about Pat Cummins, because when in doubt, go for the guy who's taken the wickets or made the runs, and he certainly. I think we are watching a cricketer who's one of a kind. We've never seen a bowling captain quite like him. Certainly not in Australian colours. A bowler who is in his prime, who's doing it consistently. Even Imran Khan, in period of his career, was kind of in and out of the side with, his various his tensions with Javed Miandad and with the Pakistan Cricket Board and with injury and indisposition. But Pat Cummins always seems to show willing, and when he does miss, as he missed the Champions Trophy, Australia looks like a much lesser side. He bowled beautifully in this game. I think he captained extremely well. I love that moment today when he bowled very full. I mean, he was constantly attacking the stumps, but when Rabada came in, he comes around the wicket and he pins him with 2 bounces straight away, one in the shoulder, one in the helmet. And then I like this even more. He sort of just nods at Rabada.
Right.
Just checks he's okay, but then moves on and moves off to mid-on to set the field. It's all in a day's work for Cummins.
I'm giving him a little credit for the run out. I think Rabada was a bit sluggish getting to after he'd been hitting the grill. It got him down there, didn't it?
That was Maharaj.
But got hit in the grill. Got run out.
Sorry, Maharaj got run out.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
All right.
I better correct that in my piece. Yeah.
Okay. It was, yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
It's a long day.
Long day.
Oh, you're right too. Yeah. Sorry about that. If you're reading this now, this is an erratum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, you wouldn't be anywhere else but Lord's tomorrow. I know it's...
You won't be at Lord's on day 4, mate.
You certainly won't. Someone was telling me today they had day 4 tickets. But I think that was an optimistic bet. Even before this Test match, I think we both said that it was going to be 3 days, maybe 3.5. It's going to be even shorter than that. The World Test Championship is coming to a fitting conclusion this cycle. I mean, we have seen very few draws and a rush to victories. I'll be interested to see the average duration of a Test match during this cycle. This might be only slightly below the average. So in some senses it might actually be in keeping with the kind of Test cricket that we're seeing around the world at the moment.
Do you remember a decade ago how sick of writing about double hundreds from Michael Clarke and Steve Smith?
Oh yeah,
all those
for
things?
sure.
I think the game has really changed, hasn't it? Those times are well over. We're being sledged by other podcasters over there.
by Colo.
Yeah.
All our worlds are colliding.
Yeah.
That's all we've got time for on Cricket et al. We'll be back tomorrow evening. But in the meantime,
afternoon.
But in the meantime, it's goodbye from me.
And it's good night from him.